Israel won't let us de-escalate with them. You know what I mean? We're being manipulated by Israel, and I would like to hear what each of you think about that.
Hillary Clinton eats babies.
A game changer would be a hypersonic anti-ship missile. That's not going to go in there. That's going to kill a carrier or kill a super tanker.
My only comment about South Lebanon is just leave them alone for the love of everything holy.
You know, the strategy that works is turning enemies into friends.
But I'd be depressed too if I had information on Hillary Clinton because she eats babies.
I don't think Israel would go down that fast. They have nuclear weapons and no one else does.
I mean,
They're all raping babies. They're all fucking raping babies. Hell yeah, they are.
there are Marie's online now.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. Matt, one last question. Hillary Clinton eats what?
Mostly babies. It's a high protein diet.
Hi, everybody. This is John Koenig back with Real Veteran News 54. I'm here with Ted Kennedy, Marie Ballerini Hunyon, and Dr. Matt Tipton. We've got some good topics this week. Would you guys like to introduce yourself in that order?
Hi, Ted, free state of Florida, the grumpy old vet that brings aged wisdom and lack of real concern to the conversation.
We're all grumpy old vets, but you're the oldest, grumpiest, oldest vet. So, all right, Marie.
Hi, Army veteran, Signal, former Department of State, unvaccinated plaintiff who got the vaccine lifted, mandate lifted. Now I'm a full-time cat mom. I just stay at home, pet cats all day.
Are there
And
any
Patriot.
cats?
I
Are
have
there any
9
cats
cats.
in there? Are there
No
any in
cats
there
in
with
here.
you?
No, but you might hear one outside the door.
Matt, do you have any animals ready to go?
They're outside right now. I've got 3 pigs, a goat, and 2 corgis.
Sweet.
Okay. All right. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Matt Tipton. I was in 375 for 5 years, got out, went to paramedic school. I'm a doctor now and work in a diversity of jobs.
Cool. All right. Last week it was cool. We had one person from each of the 4 main branches. We don't have any space people, but there's very few of them anyway. So this week it's all Army. We got 3 Rangers and Ranger Marie as well. So I would like to start out this week with a prayer. If we can all shall strike down with great vengeance and furious anger. You guys know that one?
Ezekiel 25:17.
I know where you're going with it.
Yeah. I personally can't wait for the Saturday Night Live skit on Pete Hegseth for his stupid fake Pulp Fiction prayer that he did at his meeting or whatever at the Pentagon this week. I assume you guys saw that, right?
No.
Okay. It's been a
I
big
will watch
week.
it now.
It's been a big week. Trump's fighting the Pope. Posted himself as Jesus, which
No, he didn't.
okay, Marie, what was it? What's the misunderstanding?
The artist's intent on that was that he was a healer of divided people and nations, and he is. He is. How many wars has he stopped and put a kibosh to India and Pakistan? But anyway, that's another topic for another time.
Was it Epstein laying there? Was that Epstein that he was healing?
I think what he really said is he's bigger than the Beatles, so it was implied.
All right.
Yeah. Might be before you, John.
Yeah.
I just like that our president posts memes. I think that's great.
I do too. And he says fuck in them too.
Cool. All right. We actually this week don't really have any like strong liberal cuck voices, so I need to be the liberal cuck this week. So I will assume that role just on scheduling.
Prepared to get beat down.
I try to get one liberal every week, but I kind of like ran out of liberals, and I didn't want to be like repeating people and stuff like that right away. So we'll definitely have liberals next week. I'll be the liberal cuck this week, and Ted's kind of in the middle. Matt and Marie are.
I'm classically liberal.
What does that mean?
I mean, the Constitution, I want all men equal.
I thought the Constitution had slavery in it, 3/5.
Not the original drafts. The South made them pull that out.
Oh, so you like the original Constitution that was never a thing? Okay.
Read the Federalist Papers.
Read the Federalist Papers.
Sure. It's on the top of my reading list there. All right, guys.
Well, I got the book. I'll send it to you.
All right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I bet you do. All right, cool. Well, that's enough freewheeling stuff here. Let's start talking about Iran. I'll just like run down the facts real quick. There's currently a ceasefire, although I checked the news this morning and it said that Iran, it's shaky. Iran shot at some tanker or something that went through there. I don't really know exactly what happened, but supposedly this truce goes until April 22nd. The Pakistanis are actually doing some good diplomacy and bringing the two sides together. They're doing direct talks between Iran and US, which hasn't happened in a long time. Obviously, we know that JD Vance has been leading it. They haven't gotten any agreement, and the first round was April 11th and 12th. The meeting lasted for 20 hours, or I guess they did a series of meetings. It was about 20 hours of talks. JD Vance wanted them to have no nuclear weapons. Iran wants to be able to impose tolls on ships going through the Strait of Hormuz. And Iran wants Lebanon to be part of the ceasefire, but the US and our boss, Israel, wants Lebanon left out so that they can continue doing what they're doing. I personally can't imagine the Iranians giving up nukes. Like, that would be the best thing for them if they could get their hands on some nukes. But, it just is what it is right now. I personally don't think there will be an agreement. Things might resume. Obviously, this is going to escalate. Right. I mean, I don't think anyone thinks it's going to de-escalate or they're going to shake hands or whatever. Israel's not going to allow it. And I don't think Trump wants it either. So who wants to go first on Iran? Matt?
I would quote Immanuel Kant: "No treaty of peace shall be held valid in which there is a tacitly reserved matter for a future war." So anytime you negotiate peace, you're not negotiating peace. You're laying out the guidelines of when you'll go to war again. Iran wants nukes. We want the oil. We want control of Hormuz, and we want dominance of the region. The people of Iran don't want that. The people of America and Israel don't want Iran to have nukes. So we may get to the 22nd, maybe, but we're going to keep kicking this can down the road until the conditions for the need for war go away, and that's not going to happen in our lifetime.
Who's next?
I don't think anybody wants Iran to have nukes except maybe a few people in Iran. Of greater strategic importance to Iran is the strait itself. As long as they have some control over that, they have more global influence than if they had, a couple of ballistic missiles with low yield nuclear warheads on them. That's what we're really negotiating over, and they made that clear this morning by threatening to escalate in the strait. There was a tanker off of Oman that was fired at and hit, and there was a tanker inside, or no, it was a cargo ship. There was a tanker inside the strait that was threatened. So, this is posturing, I think, for the next round of negotiations. But to me, the strait is the most important thing, not so much nuclear weapons, because they can control the strait tomorrow. Whether they can develop nuclear weapons in the next 20 years now, that's hard to say.
It's all about the uranium. They cannot have nuclear capabilities, and I fully support everything that Trump has been doing. I don't see anything wrong with what he's done, except I think he basically needs to tell Israel, leave Lebanon alone. It's a non-issue. You're not going to keep grabbing land. You stick to your little area. Shut the fuck up. Stop getting us into wars, because, it's always us.
I mean, Trump agreed to it, though, right?
Yeah, I know he did, and I'm disappointed in that at the same time. But
you just said you support everything he does.
Okay, well, not everything he does. Everything he has done thus far, except for the support of Israel. I think we need to stay in our lane. We don't need to be the world's police. I'll say that until the day I die. But we did need to stop Iran from nuclear capabilities. And I think that the whole program needs to be eliminated. So
Okay.
the
Are
only
there
way to do
any?
that is to take out the areas in which they have their underground bunkers.
What stops them from just doing it again?
It'll take them years to create the capabilities that they currently have. I mean, it's already going to take them a few years, but within our lifetime, probably.
Yeah. So, we're, are you saying that there's essentially no way to stop them in the long term? I mean, we can slow them down, stop them in the short term, but we don't have the ability to stop them in the long term, right?
I would disagree
Well,
with
we
that.
we could if people had a set of balls to do the things that they need to do, and it's got to be sequentially. It's not just one president who can take care of things that are down the road. It's or a nation, and we all have to be on the same page in that regard. Should we have nuclear capabilities? Nobody should. Nobody should. But, it's great low cost
Nobody should have nuclear
energy.
capabilities.
For the purposes of war, no, I don't think that they should.
Okay. All right, Matt, what did you want to say about long term?
I'm against all war, but if you're wanting to go to war, you should be willing to kill every man, woman, and child on the ground, rubble every building, and then salt the earth. And if you're not willing to do that in a war, you should say, why are we going there? Because I live in rural Tennessee, and if Australian paratroopers started jumping in here, you would have insurgents fighting them. Nobody wants their country invaded, and an invasion like this turns midline neutral people in the populace to fight. So I think we're creating very determined Iranian population who's angry that their water's cut off and they can't get baby formula or diapers. But we have the technical capability to wipe Iran off the face of the earth with not even 1% of our arsenal. If we were willing to use nukes, we could wipe out Iran for sure. I think that would be an atrocity, and I don't want us to do that. I'm just saying there's the technical capability to do it. As far as the Strait of Hormuz, geologically, there's a mountain range rising up at like a 30-degree angle on that northern coast, and it's granite. There's all sorts of tunnels there with mobile launchers that can come out and launch very low-cost missiles into the straits, and drones are even lower cost. It's, I think, 17 kilometers from the shore to get out there, and you can't put a point defense system on every super tanker. So as long as Iran exists and is right there, if they want to dominate and harass the Strait of Hormuz, they can. It's not taking out every tanker. The tankers won't be insured by their insurance companies if there's a risk of that. So nobody's going to risk a multi-billion-dollar vessel to go through that strait, as long as a $10,000 drone with an incendiary bomb can come in and hit the hull and cause an oil fire. If you took out a tanker in the Gulf and set it on fire, that itself would be a roadblock for weeks or months as they tried to clear it. The channel's very narrow, and it's just a very tactically vulnerable position in the world shipping lanes.
All right, Ted, what do you think about our ability to actually stop them long term? Obviously, we can do stuff short term, but what do you think?
I mean, I think the move that is going to at least slow them down. I don't know. Stop is a term like forever. I don't think that move has yet been played, and that's the what is it, 500 kilograms of enriched uranium. As long as that's still there, they still have the capability to continue their nuclear weapons program. I go back to controlling the strait is what's in question here. Matt said, sink one tanker in the strait, you cause an environmental disaster that Greta is going to lose her freaking mind over. But also, it's going to cause insurance prices on tankers to either go away or go through the roof, which impacts the global economy. Looking at who gets their oil from that region, it may or may not be bad for us, but for Europe, for China, for Asia, for pretty much everybody else, until we can start selling our own oil at the scale the Arabs do. That strait is one of the three most strategic waterways on the planet. The Malacca Straits and the mouth into the Suez Canal being the other two. And we've been involved in Yemen for the last 20 years trying to keep Iran from controlling that waterway. I've heard people say, what we started this thing with Iran. No, this has been going on since 1979. A Marine protesting, what has Iran ever done to me? Is like, well, 250 of your brothers were blown up in a barracks in Beirut. But
It was
a
over
young
40 years
Marine
ago. I mean, the people that did that
still,
are all long dead. I mean, I don't like the Marine killings in Beirut, and obviously that was a bad time for us. But realistically, we can't fight wars now based on some, are we going to go bomb the Vietnamese? I mean, look,
well, I mean, from the left, and you're arguing from the left, then why don't we talk about reparations for an event that happened 150 years ago? I mean, if we're going to drag out, we have to let bygones be bygones. Germany rearming is not a big deal then, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just saying there's a whole long track record of things that Iran has done. More recently, supplying the Iraqi resistance with explosive form penetrators. Every time you see a veteran in an airport with a left arm and a left leg missing, or a right arm and a right leg missing, that's probably due to an Iranian-built EFP.
I don't like that either. But I mean, that's our game. I mean, we do that. We interfere in all these other people's conflicts.
John,
Obviously, they're going to take a chance.
you're
What?
arguing a 40-year-old event, and we brought up slavery being 150. The people in charge of Iran are fighting a 1,000-year war with a stated goal of wiping out all of non-Islam and all the infidels.
That's
They have a long time, not the Iranian people,
that's
but
not
the
that's not
mullahs. They state it publicly all the time. Their goal is world domination. I don't think they're capable of it right now, but saying that that's a 40-year-old event, let's let it go. Their stated goal for the past 40 years has been wiping out the big Satan and the little Satan, which is Israel and the U.S. So, you do need to hold grudges when the people have been in charge with continuity for that whole time period and with the same stated goal. They've not said, like, Vietnam is our ally now and our trade partner. Same thing with Germany and Japan. But there was an ideology that we crushed because it wasn't religious. It was a political ideology. And the Nazis said, I'm not a Nazi anymore. There's a ton of Nazis that worked on into the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they disavowed it and went on with normal life. The people in charge in Iran are not going to disavow that ideology anytime soon without dying out and having a younger, more progressive generation come in and get educated. And there's no education system in Iran that's going to liberalize people.
Fighting new wars over old grudges. I mean, we did stuff to them. They obviously have grievances with us. I mean, we have to be careful with these wars that we start, like Marie said, starting these new wars. We're spending $1 trillion on this that we could be spending on, or just not. I mean, we're borrowing it, borrowing the money, printing the money. We all don't like that. And, the strategy that works is turning enemies into friends. And if we're lucky, there would be some sort of revolution there. But realistically, their people are tougher. Like the democracy people, the college students, they're not tough enough. They don't have the weapons to unseat the people, and this like kind of thugocracy is going to continue, and it's just a fact, right? Like ideally, we just don't fight them, and we can't get rid of them. They can't get rid of us. It's like a stalemate. But Israel won't let us de-escalate with them. You know what I mean? We're being manipulated by Israel. And I would like to hear what each of you think about that. But I mean, this wasn't Trump's idea. Netanyahu flew to DC, sat in the Situation Room for some reason, and basically told Trump to do this. And Trump was like, okay, even though his advisors didn't want to do it. I mean, JD Vance didn't want to do it. Who knows what he says with sinking. A lot of people in the government didn't want to do this because it's stupid. And it's all Israel. What do you think?
The 500 kilograms of nuclear material didn't go away when we bombed it. It's just in a cavern that's collapsed. And simple mining equipment and Geiger counters, it can be recovered in a matter of weeks. So until we go in with excavating equipment and Geiger counters and the 82nd Airborne, and literally extract that material from the collapsed cavern, it's still there and they just have to dig it up. So that's an ongoing thing.
Mac, I remember doing one of these shows with you back when that happened, and Trump said it was obliterated, and you said it was obliterated. Obviously, it has not been obliterated. And the point that I would like to make is, if we're gonna go in and dig this stuff out, why did we blow it up in the first place? We could just go in, take it. Why drop the bombs? Like, that was a mistake.
We took out their centrifuges and the refining equipment, and we also took out their trigger devices. So give me 30 seconds for a primer. To make a fission type bomb like we dropped on Hiroshima, you need enough critical mass to have a supercritical explosion. and that's not a lot. Then you need to put it in a geometry where it's not a perfect sphere, it's a hollow sphere, and you have plastic explosives around it. It collapses in a core, and then it detonates with like a 10% yield, give or take. Very simple to do. If you have the material in pharmaceutical grade sitting on a shelf, you can make a device in weeks or months. Now, the ability to launch that device and survive the G-forces of an intercontinental ballistic missile, that's much harder. But you could make a simple device that you put on a cargo ship or a sailboat, cruise into Chesapeake Bay and sink it, and take out the eastern seaboard with a radioactive tidal wave. That's a very simple operation. So I think there was intel that we were worried that was about to happen immediately, that they were going to put a device together. So they put a
There was no
timeline.
intel. There was no intel. And then Yahoo came over with a PowerPoint presentation of bullshit, and there was no intel. Like, I don't know where you're getting that from.
I'm giving you the timeline of what it takes nuclear material to a nuclear weapon. Now, a nuclear weapon that can survive space flight is a very complex process. It's hard to put things into space and not have them shake apart and, electrical connections come loose or detonate in flight, or the explosives, they have to be perfectly shaped so the G-force can shift the explosives and you get a dud instead of an explosion. But if you can gently transport one across the surface of the ocean, much higher risk for an attack on a Western target. The intel would be Iran saying they want to do it, and they've been saying they want to do it for the past 20 years.
Of course they want to bomb. They want to bomb Israel. They don't want to nuke us. You're acting like we have to go over there because they're going to nuke New York City or something, which they're not going to do. They want to nuke Tel Aviv if they
How many
have
senators
to.
and congressmen were elected because of Israeli money? What percent? It's over 90, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so they're effectively our proxy and we're theirs. So pretending like it's just Israel and we're not involved, there's so many deep ties back and forth between Israel and us politically, like with the guys that are making the decisions. It's to say it's not our fight. It's not my fight here in West Tennessee living as a rural doctor, but the people get phone calls and say, hey, vote this way, vote that way. You can't deny that's occurring.
I don't approve of it. Ted,
And
what do you think?
If they were to take out the West, then they're taking out the backbone of Israel's IDF.
They're not coming for us. Their fight is with Israel. All right. Ted, what are you thinking?
Okay.
I mean, I was going to compare Israel and that region with NATO, and you brought up we're defending everybody. Whether it's worth discussing now or not, I don't know what to think anymore. But long term, a nuclear armed Iran is a threat to that region, and stability in that region, whether it's force stability, as we're doing right now, for whichever side we're doing it for, the lesser of two evils impacts the global economy. This is about globalization. A lot of the planet relies on oil from that region. A lot of the planet is hurting because of stupid decisions. I blame Greta Thunberg for that. But when Western Europe has given up all of its fossil fuels, all of its nuclear power, and they're relying on windmills for power, not having a nuclear armed Iran that can control the strait and tax boats, tankers, all that. Globalization. We're not defending anybody but the global economy, in my opinion.
The region's unstable because of Israel, not because of these other countries. And Israel has, 90, 200 nukes. The reason why the Iranians want the nukes is because Israel has them. If Israel didn't have them, they might want them, they might not. But they're basically saying Israel has nukes, we want the nukes too. The Pakistanis have them, and they don't understand why they can't have them. You know what I mean? And we say, oh, they're this like the world's most terrorists or whatever. That's all Israeli propaganda. And I would just like to know, each of you, if you agree with the Israeli prime minister flying to the White House, sitting the president down, laying out some bullshit, his advisors disagreeing with it, and then him going with the Israelis, and us just being led around like on a dog leash. If you agree with that.
I do not agree with it.
I don't agree that that's what's happening. I think there's definitely heavy Israeli influence, as I stated before, but I don't think Trump gets marching orders from anybody, and I think he changes day to day on what he's going to do. And I think his controlled chaos is part of why he's effective, is because world leaders are slightly unsure of what he's going to do. He's a great poker player, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Would you deny that it was Israel's idea? The February meeting with Netanyahu happened, and that's what started all this.
I would show you a montage video going back to Bill Clinton of every single U.S. president saying they will not allow Iran to have nuclear weapons. including Hillary Clinton when she was running. I would show you the Wesley Clark video where he said he came out of a meeting and they said they were going to take out 5 countries in the Mideast, ending up in Iran. So this has been the military industrial complex's plan for since 9/11, that we were going to take out Iran. I think there's more dangerous people besides Israel that are profiting off this war, that have planned for this war and encouraging this war. So to act like it's Bibi Netanyahu that's pulling the strings, I think there's powerful men we don't even know the name of that have been encouraging this on both sides. You've seen the meme where rockets are coming up from Gaza and it's like my tax dollars, and then the Iron Dome, it's like somehow also my tax dollars. Like, war is profitable and there's an industry around it, and we need cooler heads to prevail.
Yeah, I agree with Matt on that, but I'll go back to your comment about stability in the region. I don't think there's been real stability in the region since the Prophet Muhammad died and didn't leave a clear successor. So you have two factions of Islam there that have been at each other's throats for, since that happened. I can tell you from living over there, it would be a nuclear arms race. If Iran went nuclear, the Saudis would go nuclear, the UAE would go nuclear. And then what? I think they're just crazy enough to blow each other up. We can argue mutually assured destruction, but when one side believes being killed by the other side is a one-way ticket to heaven, that's kind of scary. I don't think the Soviet Union and NATO ever believed that. I know the Hindis don't believe that. With Pakistan, who knows? But I do know the level of hatred that exists across that Persian Gulf, Arabian Gulf, depends on which side you're on, is a lot more than most Americans can fathom.
I don't like it's a propaganda line that, this is some ancient conflict and it's been going on for 1,000 years. I mean, that's not the case.
Have you read the Quran?
The Middle East has been very stable until they created the state of Israel, and then on after World War I and World War II, when we started meddling in there. The Ottoman Empire was stable for hundreds, like 700 years. And yes, there's the Shia Sunni thing, whatever. But I mean, that kind of stuff happens all over the world. Europe was by far the bloodiest place, maybe parts of China. But, this happens all over the world. This isn't some ancient thing. We meddled in their affairs. We moved all these Israelis there who we've backed up. We gave them their nuclear weapons. I mean, this is.
We did not give Israel nuclear weapons.
Yes, we did. They stole it from us and we just basically handed it to them. They're us. They're our colony there. It's a new crusade, basically.
So are they holding us on a dog leash, or they our colony? Which one is it?
It's basically the dog walking the master at this point. I mean, we put their colony there, and then they took the opportunity to ingratiate themselves into our politics over 40, 50 years, like you said, Matt, and they've influenced all these presidents. They align themselves with the Christians and evangelical Christians, and created this Jewish Christian alliance. And that's where we're at right now, my opinion. Anybody?
I think you grossly oversimplified Islam for the past 1,000 years and the Ottoman Empire being stable. The Ottoman Empire was incredibly cruel, dominant, and expansionist.
Christianity has been extremely cruel. Okay, so
when was the last time we were cruel?
Through the entire history of Christianity. Okay, so throwing stones in the glass house here, buddy.
The primary weapon system of the Ottoman Empire was bolt-action rifles with 4 rounds in the magazine. With the rise of the Kalashnikov rifle and the armament of all sides of the Mideast by both the West and Russia, that's what's caused the conflict there. Is we've pumped weapon systems that they have no concept how to use into the region, and now they have anti-aircraft weapon systems on the back of Toyota trucks. Like, you can't bomb all the schools and have people have an 8th grade education that only consists of the Quran and then arm the crap out of them to 21st century levels. That's why there's conflict. There's no education, there's no hope, there's no food, and no future, and then we're arming the crap out of them on all sides.
There's select education. If you are part of a family or you have money, then you will be educated, and then the not so educated, the idiots are the
cannon
it's
fodder.
like the difference between that's what it is. But it's like the difference between officers and enlisted, almost, that officers are hailed. They always walk on the right. I know it's about rank, but officers are always on the right. It was explained to me when I was in Jordan that when the officers and the enlisted, the Jordanians, would get their education, their military education, the officers would go around and collect all the books from the enlisted and say, you can't read, you don't need to read this. You do what I tell you to do. And that's one of the reasons why Arabs lose wars all the time, because people are only educated in their specific duty. So a tanker doesn't know how to operate a wrecker. There's things like that. They have no idea. They're exclusionary to their own MOS, if you will. And one can't pick up an AT4 and, use it because they'd probably have it flipped around. They are just uneducated. Unfortunately, that's the reality of it. I'm not trying
I
to
think I think their education is fine. I mean, I think the education in rural Tennessee and in the inner cities in our country, if you see some of the people that are receiving American education, it's not working either. So every
True.
society has educated and uneducated people. Iraq, before we invaded, was one of the most educated countries in the world.
If you want to defeat the Mideast and Islam with nukes, the right way is to build 10,000 nuclear reactors in the West and make oil obsolete, cut off their income, and let them have their desert.
Okay, sure. All right. Let's kick off on Lebanon a little bit. So while this Iran thing's been going on, Israel's been pounding Lebanon. They've killed about 2,000 people in South Lebanon, demolished 1,400 buildings, and displaced 1.2 million people. Basically, following the model of what they did when they leveled Gaza, like last year or the year before that. So obviously, they say they want a security buffer of about 40 kilometers. Which personally, if you want a legitimate security buffer, you're looking at 1 to maybe 5 kilometers, but 40 kilometers is basically a land grab, in my opinion. I personally think that they're using the Iran war as kind of like a cover. They say they want to disarm Hezbollah. That's impossible. And they're using rough tactics there to disrupt the peace talks as well, obviously. Operation Eternal Darkness, as Tucker Carlson has taught us all about. What do you guys think about South Lebanon and that?
My only comment about South Lebanon is just leave them alone for the love of everything holy. Israel's just stirring up more shit. That's just my opinion. It just irritates the shit out of me. So before I go into my conspiracy stuff, I'll just shut up.
All right. Ted, what do you think?
I mean, to build on your comment, we need to stay out of it. We're not the world police.
Okay.
In the
All right,
past
Matt.
decade, Hezbollah fired over 10,000 missiles, rockets, or mortars from South Lebanon into Israel. The cost for the Iron Dome, every time they fire one of those 3 to 4 Iron Dome missiles are deployed at very expense. Having a 40-kilometer standoff is a reasonable tactical view. I don't know if it's a reasonable political view to go in and level 40 kilometers worth of land and displace 1.2 million people. But I see the tactical sense when you're getting shelled at that level for an extended period of time. At some point, if my neighbor would shoot 3 rounds at my house every day after work, I'm going to solve the problem either with police or something else. I'm going to have to put an end to that constant harassment. You can't endure that in perpetuity, and it is a cost to Israel. Did they make the right decision, and are they causing a humanitarian crisis, and do I agree with it? No, but I can't fault them for saying I don't like it when you keep shooting at me continuously with I'm just supposed to be the bigger man and turn the other cheek. They don't know about Jesus, so I don't think they turn the other cheek, but it is what it is.
Well, you go with this bad neighbor thesis here, and it's like, okay, they say they need 40 kilometers. They're gonna move settlers in there. They're already planning it. So they're gonna move Jewish settlers into South Lebanon, take over the land, and then what kind of security buffer is it then? They'll just shoot rockets into South Lebanon. You know what I mean? Do you really think that the security buffer is the reason why they're doing this?
Well, you've got Hamas in Gaza and you've got Hezbollah in Lebanon that are constantly harassing. And it's an incredible minority of the people living there that are the ones actively doing it. But the majority of the local populace in Gaza and in South Lebanon are supporting those people with food resources, providing voluntary human shields, and allowing shelter in their homes and basements and rooftops to build bombs and launch missiles and do all that. Most of the humanitarian aid we give to the poor people in both regions gets diverted. If we give them concrete, they make tunnels. If we give them fertilizer, they make explosives. So pretending like Israel is some great evil that's just wanting to kill innocent civilians, they're dealing with a real crisis. I say quit funding money into all sides of the region and let them work it out. Build a bunch of nuclear reactors over here and divorce ourselves from the region.
What I learned in my studies in the Middle East, I studied that in college. Also, have been there and visited Israel, West Bank. What I learned and is that everything in this area is about land. It's not about security. It's not about, I mean, maybe religion, whatever, but the people in Lebanon are pretty diverse, different religions, stuff like that. The Israelis want the land. They've been clawing back land in Jerusalem, the West Bank, everywhere they can get their hands on a piece of land, they are taking it and they never give it back. I mean, they did withdraw from Lebanon, they withdraw from Gaza and stuff like that. But realistically, they want the land. Everything is about land. If they occupy land, it's a land grab, in my opinion.
I feel like that's a gross oversimplification of the Israel conflict.
Have you been there?
Yeah.
And you don't think it's about land?
I'm pretty sure it's about religion and a 1,000-year-old war where three peoples, three religions all argue over who should control the holy city. I would put a 60-foot wall that looks nice like a castle around the holy city and make it its own country like the Vatican and let any person on earth visit it for free and make it completely demilitarized.
Well, you know who's going to object to that, right?
There's Americans that are trying to breed a perfect Red Bull so they can sacrifice it over there and bring about the end of the world.
They have 3
Arabs
already.
want to rebuild the temple. It's an insane process. There's people that want to bring about the end of the world and believe they have that capability. It's about religion. Sure, it's nice to own land, and there's pragmatists on the ground that are like, I would also like to grow crops there or build an apartment complex. Like even Trump wanted to turn the West Bank into like Vegas or something. Yeah. Land has value, and people that are real estate minded want it. But to say this is all about land, land values in California are very expensive, but you don't see Nevada trying to invade California to get more land. I think water is a huge resource application over there. It's fundamentally
a false equivalency. Las Vegas, Nevada is not the same as Jerusalem. Okay. This is the most significant land. Every inch of that land is significant to a lot of people. It's the most valuable real estate in the world.
For religious purposes, it's significant.
Yes. Yep. It's prime real estate, and that's why we have a lot of military bases over there too. But Iran obviously knows where all of them are, and they've been picking them off little by little, or trying to. But I think Israel wants that buffer of land. It is prime real estate. Do they care about it? No. They care who's on it, and they want that buffer. They want to build their wall further out than their little tiny kingdom.
They want to move their people in there. That's what they want to do. Well, I mean, they're going to move their people right up to that wall, just like they do everywhere else.
And into Gaza. And Gaza is going to be their Miami soon. They will.
I would rather Gaza be in Israeli hands and look like Miami than look like Gaza.
I mean, if this is the kind, I mean, I don't believe in war crimes, but I mean, if this is the kind of thing these people are into, can you see why people are fighting them?
When you say
if someone took your house, how would you feel if someone took your house?
How would I feel if somebody was rocketing my house on a daily basis and capturing hundreds of civilians and raping women and beheading babies?
Was it the chicken or the egg? And no one's raping babies. Okay, so are they sending the rockets just for no reason? I mean,
they're all raping babies. They're all fucking raping babies. Hell yeah, they are.
There are Marie's online now.
Yeah,
that's going in.
Hillary Clinton eats babies.
Yeah,
you got to say that on every episode, Matt. Please,
my catchphrase. Until she sues me, so I can get discovery in civil court.
My friends love it. All right. Ted, you got anything else, or you want to move on?
Oh, I'm good to move on. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to end until one side completely dominates the other. So we're at kind of a point in history where let's just pick a side and let them have at it. If that's the Israelis, then I'm okay with that. If that's the Arabs, I'm okay with that. I lived over there for 6 years, so I kind of understand the unwillingness to get along. If the Israelis weren't doing it, the Iranians would be, the Saudis would be. Just pick a country over there that's trying to maybe not take another country's land, but take another country's free will away. And it all goes back to
NATO.
Something that happened 2,000 years ago.
Well, if you say let them have at it, by that thesis, if we just backed off of it, Israel would be wiped out. I mean,
Yeah.
they're outnumbered 100 to 1 by Muslims that don't want them there, and all their bombs, all their bullets, their planes, everything comes from us. They
Yep.
wouldn't last. They wouldn't last. 5 years, 3 years, if we disengage from that. So, I mean, we're not letting them have at it. We're picking a side, and we're putting our thumbs on the scale big time, as we have the entire time since before probably all of us were born.
That's my point. We have picked a side. I don't think Israel would go down that fast. They have nuclear weapons and no one else does, which comes back around to your argument of Iran and why we're in Iran. I don't know what Netanyahu briefed Trump on when he came over. I wasn't there. Do I think it's connected? Possibly, possibly not. Does it really matter? Not at this point. We won't know for probably months what really matters with what we're doing right now. It's kind of like that guy Maduro that doesn't exist anymore. That a few months ago was on headline news every time you turned on TV or turned on your computer or whatever. He's been forgotten about. If October, if gas prices are down, food prices are down, the cost of living is down, and we have relative peace, November is going to decide what people think. And personally, I think what we're doing right now has more to do with that than probably anything else.
Would you rather take your granddaughter's vacation in Gaza or Tel Aviv? And if this war were to end, do you think Tel Aviv would be more like Gaza or Gaza would be more like Tel Aviv, depending on which side wins?
I think the conditions in Gaza are because of the Israelis and how they've acted. And I mean, they've destroyed that place. I mean, not just after October 7th. I mean, it was a prison. They've choked them off of everything, and yeah, it's not great there. 50% of marriages are between first cousins. I mean, it's not great.
What's the
But
per capita aid from the world that's gone into Gaza for the past 50 years? And if they'd used that all to build it up and make it look like Miami, it would. They've diverted all their aid that they get to making war supplies, digging tunnels, and harassing Israel. And then every time Israel harasses them back, they're like, "Oh, poor me."
well, you just said if it's Australian paratroopers dropped into Tennessee, all you and your buddies would be in the hills going Red Dawn on them. That's exactly what I mean, the Gazans don't like it.
No,
I
paratroopers
mean,
did not jump in on Gaza. Gaza will shoot into Israel. Israel send a response force, kill the bad guys, get some collateral damage, and they're like, "Why is Israel doing this?" Then they'll fire more
okay,
rockets.
sure, that's what happened. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got another topic here, China, where it relates to Iran, but basically, China's been selling Iran weapons off and on for decades, and there's reports that China has already sent shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles. That they are letting the Iranians use their GPS alternative to the one that we use, which the Iranians have been using for their drone strikes and missile strikes that have hit our bases. And Trump says that China won't ship serious weapons over to Iran. And the Chinese say that they won't. I don't believe the Chinese. I also don't believe Trump. So I would imagine that China is going to keep helping them. And although China wants calmer heads to prevail because they want the oil. So what do you guys think about China? What do you think China is going to do? And do you think it makes a difference?
Arms dealers on all sides are going to make money off this war any way they can, illegally and legally. And there's too many ways in and out of all the countries in the region to smuggle high value, high technological armaments, including drones, including shoulder fired missiles. As long as there's a profit margin, which there clearly is, it's going to happen. And there's no consequences for anybody involved. And the U.S. has been flowing arms into the entire world since World War II. So,
Yes, of course. All right.
I believe China, the serious weapons. Yeah. China's going to provide for Iran because Iran is an ally for China, and the Straits of Hormuz closing, it's going to affect China as well, and China's going to want results. Hopefully they just sit this one out and keep their noses clean, but I doubt it.
So you don't believe when Trump says that they won't ship weapons?
No, I think they'll ship
they're
weapons.
they're definitely shipping weapons right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when I was in Jordan, I know that there were weapons that were passed from us into Syria. I know
Of
it. I
course.
know it. I mean, well, there's always going to be those backdoor things. Yeah, I don't trust China.
What do you think about the back door, Ted?
We could argue they are shipping, but in what numbers? I mean, if they bring one Type 56 assault rifle across, someone could argue they're shipping weapons. There's right now open source reporting, multiple open source reporting is saying no Chinese transports have landed, no ships, unless they're turning off their INS beacons, are coming. I mean, there's a blockade for all the ports anyway. Land routes would be pretty difficult based on what lies between Iran and China. Manpads was what was reported anyway, and they're limited threat to anything other than probably helicopters or A-10s. What's more damaging is targeting data and intelligence that China can provide because they have the equivalent of a space force and satellites. They have the EW capability to pick up our transmissions, our radio transmissions, and they have the technology to help with the targeting. GPS, not so much, but INS, other types of guidance for drones, ballistic missiles. So I think that one was just, oh my goodness, look at China. There's bigger things. And China stands to lose the most with the strait staying closed and the conflict continuing because they get most of their oil from Iran.
Yeah.
So I don't think they have an interest in seeing this extended much beyond where it is right now.
Well, you could say if they support Iran, that it's not, extending them a lifeline to drag the conflict out. But if Iran performs well, then we might quit and then they get what they want. So, I mean,
There's an advantage to China for how the November election goes. So keeping the region unstable until November, you could say there's some election, just like maybe COVID destabilizing Trump's first presidency helped Biden get elected, who might have been more favorable to China.
He cheated.
I just with the weapons, I don't. Again, multiple open source reads I did this morning. They're all saying there's no real indicators that large quantities of weapons are going into Iran from China. Speculation is intelligence, both electronic and imagery for targeting, maritime data for where ships are. A game changer would be a hypersonic anti-ship missile. That's not going to go in there. That's going to kill a carrier or kill a supertanker. That's not gone in there. They're still using silkworms, and those are easily defeated. So a few man pads, come on. I mean, that's
they're thinking about it. I think they probably wouldn't send in their hypersonic missiles, but they're definitely thinking about it. I mean, right?
They may have rattled a saber just to shake things up, but I mean, and by the way, we're doing billions of dollars worth of weapons sales to a little island just off their coast. So if you want to go back and forth, we can. I mean, it's the Game of Thrones between the U.S., China, and Russia. Interestingly enough, Russia's kind of out of that game right now, but China is still in it. What do they stand to gain by arming Iran? Just what Matt said. It extends the conflict. It could affect November. It could cause us to give Iran a better deal coming out of this. But until a carrier goes down or a capital ship goes down or a B-2 goes down, I think we're a long way from giving them the best deal they could get. We're going to get what we want in the long run. I'm pretty sure of that.
I thought we discussed that we can't stop them from pursuing nuclear weapons in the long run. I mean, that's what we want. Right? We can't stop them. Like, they can just start all over again. Get new scientists, buy more uranium. It's not hard to get uranium. Buy up some more centrifuges, just start it all over again.
Well, I said that. I mean, never and no nuclear weapons, no nuclear weapons program, never nuclear weapons. Never's a long time. U.S. history is written every 4 years. Every incumbent president is concerned about keeping his party in the White House, keeping his party in control of Congress. So if you go back, you brought up Israel. If you go back to 1948 and that election, and why we were the very first country on the planet to recognize the state of Israel when they declared independence, you'll read some interesting stuff. Fast forward to the early 70s, why Iran was the only other country to have an aircraft built for carrier landings. They don't have them anymore, but they did have the second largest fleet of F-14s. That was about a presidential election. So foreign policy is written every 4 years. So to say never, no, it's not going to happen, we'll see about that. But in the near term, if it appears to the American voter that it's never going to happen, they're not going to have a nuclear weapons program, well, that makes November of this year look good and November of 2027 look good. And that's what it's about.
A 2 to 4 year attention span in a 1,000-year religious war doesn't work.
All right. It's not a 1,000-year war. All right. All right. Let's move on to these scientists. We've got, and Marie, I'm going to need you to come in hot with some conspiracy theories. This is rife with conspiracy theory territory here, and we know that you've got some. So we're going to need those. But the facts are between 2023 2026, they have 5 dead and 4 missing scientists and other personnel working in space, advanced medicine, advanced materials. These are people that have knowledge of and are involved in stuff like UFO research, advanced aerial systems, space, highly important government programs. Some of them are suspicious. And then the number of, 9 of these people having been dead or missing in 3 years statistically is kind of out of the norm here. What do you think about the missing and dead people working in critical technologies?
It's been happening since forever.
How deep does it go? Come on.
Oh, it goes pretty deep. Let's see. Which one of the operations do you want to talk about? It's statistically anomalous. It has earmarks of CIA. People just disappear. People of high caliber. They had a lot in common. And, now NASA is looking for a lot of funding and they're not going to get what they want. There's a lot of questions. So, maybe they have something to do with each other. I don't know. You never know. Everything's conceivable. I could be a big conspiracy theorist, but I don't want to go there.
All right,
I mean,
all right,
it's
fine. I won't push you into the dark realms. We know that one guy left home without his cell phone and basically wasn't seen again. One person disappeared on a hike. One scientist was murdered in their home, which seems a bit odd. You would go into, I mean, how often do you hear about a scientist being murdered in their home? I mean, maybe if it was like a domestic thing, but it doesn't seem like they know what happened. Seems strange. Anybody else?
You both use the word statistics in some form. I would say I'd like to know how many scientists qualify for this category. And then if you put the number 9 above that number, what's the actual percentage? I mean, how many celebrities and rock stars overdose in hotel rooms on heroin? There's a lot of celebrities and a lot of rock stars. And the reason they do that is because they get their assistant to buy them heroin, and the drug dealer tries to impress them and gives them uncut product, and they shoot their normal amount and die. But I would want to look at the actual statistics of how many scientists qualify in this category versus 9 missing. I think some of them are, background noise of, the guy decided to decompress, leave his cell phone at home and go for a hike, and he's a nerd and doesn't know how to hike in the woods and got lost and had hypothermia. That's the most likely explanation.
Well, they find a body if someone goes missing. You know what I mean?
You don't always find a body when people go missing in the wilderness. Animals will just destroy your bones pretty quickly. There's missing persons all the time in the wilderness. The wilderness is a dangerous place. I mean, how many people who are enemies of the Clintons have committed suicide by shooting themselves twice in the back of the head, or been robbed in a park after they send WikiLeaks an email and nothing's stolen from them? So,
or they hung themselves after being shot.
Yeah, I mean, he was really depressed though, so that's probably why he hung himself after shooting himself. But I'd be depressed too if I had information on Hillary Clinton because she eats babies. But
You said her name 3 times now on a podcast, so you're done.
Yeah.
You're going to be added to the list, Doc.
Let me raise my hand on this one, John. I mean, we're talking about something that's happened over a 2 to 3 year period. The only real connection that I could find doing the research was the word scientist. They don't share similar fields. Okay, some defense, some research into UFOs, some research into curing cancer. I mean, yeah, we could throw out agencies right away, or we could throw out big pharmacy. Big pharma would hate to see a cure for cancer because of the money they make off of, it'd be like a cheap cure for obesity, or a cheap cure for high cholesterol, or a cheap cure for high blood pressure.
You're talking about broccoli.
There's no geographical connections. They were all in different locations. not all of them are missing. Some of them were found. They found the bodies, and they were dead. They were murdered or accidents. But the other connection here is it makes great news, and it's great click value for. Oh my goodness, there's a conspiracy there. We have to click on it and see what it says. That's Ted's opinion on it.
Apparently, there's an investigation. I think Peter Ducey asked Caroline Levitt if they were looking into it. I think she said that they're looking into it. There's some kind of investigation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? There might be some FBI thing. Who knows? I mean, hopefully, no more of these people die. This is kind of weird, but figure we talk about it. It's kind of interesting topic.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap up. We're at the end of time here. So, if you guys would like to say some final words, why don't we start with whoever? Matt, do you want to go?
Sure. I just wanted to comment one more thing about the Straits of Hormuz and the impending catastrophe from that in the third world. A huge amount of fertilizer, nitrogen form, comes through that strait. And there's three components of fertilizer: the nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium. Without the ability in some arable land in Asia, Southeast Asia, and Africa, millions could potentially be food deprived because of this. And the other one would be the amount of helium that comes from the gas fields in the Gulf that's extracted with the natural gas and refined. And it's very important for the semiconductor industry and the medical industry, MRIs, lots of stuff, technology that I'm not aware of. But helium is expendable and precious, and we shouldn't be putting it in children's balloons because of all the other stuff it does. But there's a lot of secondary and tertiary effects that I can't even explain right now that are going to come out of the Hormuz closure. And if it was an extended closure after this ceasefire ends, it could cause catastrophic problems for all sorts of industries and the agriculture industry.
Matt, one last question. Hillary Clinton eats what?
Mostly babies. It's a high protein diet.
Okay, nice. Baby sushi, great. All right, Marie, you
You'll
want to go?
see. You'll see. No, thanks for having me. I don't have anything to wrap up. It was a pleasure to be here as always, John. Thank you.
All
And
right.
gentlemen as well.
All right, cool. Ted?
Yeah, I would just like to openly state that I have no evidence on any former secretaries of state that were married to former presidents. I will not say the name openly, and I am not listed in any of the Epstein files. That's all I have to say.
Are
And
you
you are not
depressed or
suicidal.
think?
Right?
Yeah. Are you planning on killing yourself?
No.
No.
Good. Let's keep it that way.
Ditto.
All right. Cool. Yeah.
Ditto.
Again, nobody's depressed. No one is suicidal. However I die, it was
Homicidal, but not suicidal.
Yes, we are all homicidal. So, all right, cool. All right, well, that's the end of the show. Real Veteran News 54. Thank you guys for joining. I hope everyone liked it, and try to do it again next week. All right, bye.